Hello, everybody. I'm Travis Fain, and this month's Safe Travels conversation is with Senator Vickie Sawyer, Chair of the State Senate Transportation Committee. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you for having me, Travis.
I'll get right into it. National Teen Driver Safety Week, that's this month. You have two daughters. One of them, I believe, is still a teenager. They're both old enough to drive, at least, and you're an insurance agent. I wonder what do you tell them about safe driving? How do you kind of get that message across? You're an insurance agent, you're transportation chair, so you see some things that people wouldn't see and hear stories that people wouldn't hear that you probably think about when you're relaying things to your daughters.
Yeah, a lot, not unlike most parents. We talk about how when a car in your hands can actually turn into being a weapon. And we've seen and heard horror stories, in our own lives, and we try to convey this to kids, but kids are pretty invincible, right? They think they have it. This will not happen to them. And I just try to reiterate to them what I see as an insurance agent about the small accidents, right? Maybe it's not the big deadly ones, but it's the smaller ones, the bump ups, the things that can even lead into bigger ones. And just continually to have that conversation about do not text and drive. Make sure you are aware of your surroundings, because truly one of those small accidents can turn into a big accident that can turn into a life-changing accident just at the drop of a dime. Not even Actually, as I said, in my house, I look out, there are two trees on this road I live on where two young women have lost their lives just driving too fast down the road, Brawley School Road, in which I live on. And as I walk on my daily walk, I see those trees, and I try to remind my children that that is the place just right by their house where two young women have lost their lives due to reckless driving on their own hands.
Yeah, and it can happen in just the blink of an eye. You represent Iredell County. You got part of Mecklenburg County in your
Sure.
district too, I believe, but most of your district is in Iredell. Pretty rural area, though probably not as rural as it used to be. I wonder if you could speak to transportation safety issues in a growing rural area like that, where you've got interstates that give way to state highways that give way to pasture land.
Yeah, especially in our rural areas, you can be driving and you think that there's no one out there but you. And then you easily can lose control of your car. I mean, it's just that easy. You can hit a slick patch, or maybe the road isn't very wide, and you can, fall off the road very easily with a big shoulder. They are major accidents in our rural areas because folks feel like they can speed or have higher rates of speed because there's not as much traffic congestion. So, especially at night, especially when rainy and at night, all of those things can compound to really hurt or have someone have a serious accident at a wrong time, and that can be life changing and life altering.
Turning to the legislature, what have been some of the tougher policy debates you've seen when it comes to safety issues? One that comes to my mind is, balancing this desire some have for red light cameras, which I think there's good studies out there that show that really does make a difference safety wise. But then you've got privacy concerns, you've got others who have concerns, and people just don't like red light cameras a lot of times. How do you balance all these priorities as a lawmaker?
Well, hopefully through a lot of conversation. The red light camera was very interesting to me because we did have those conversations. My local police force actually had caught a murderer that through the usage of some red light cameras in our district. And so the red light cameras are not only good for safety on the roadways, but also public safety in general. But you do worry about the misuse of personal data by government officials. And so that one really took me a long time to work through with our judicial folks, because I wanted to make sure that it was used the right way. Because when that information is used the right way, it could help public safety as a whole, but not abused, right, by some folks who could possibly get their hands onto that information. So that was a hard policy that is being done and implemented, but we'd still continue to look at it to make sure it's right.
You've been a real advocate for highway worker safety, which is, I think, an area where people can make a big difference in someone. You can save a life by being careful, by being intentional in a work zone. I wonder if you have some thoughts on what sort of messaging works with people so that it rings true with them, and so that they think of it as they enter a work zone.
Yeah, and think about North Carolina with all the construction that we have on the roads. It feels like that's our new state bird is a construction barrel. So it feels like you're almost always in a work zone and you become numb to that. But those barrels and those safety signs are there for a reason because not only are you putting yourself in danger by being in a work zone and not being safe driving, you're also hurting those people who are working on the side of the road. I don't know how folks get up in the morning and the mowing crews that mow on, on the interstates. That's so scary, right? To see what they're doing. And oftentimes aren't even in a work zone, but we have time and time again seen people who have lost their lives due to inattentive drivers into work zones. Again, right here in my own Iredell County, not even a year ago, there were several construction workers who had lost their lives due to someone just not paying attention. So I urge everyone, when you do see those yellow or when you do see those orange cones, please to slow down, to look around and make sure that you save a life.
One last question for you here. If someone's advocating to you for whatever policy it is, what is something that they can do to stand out, to be memorable, to make their point for you or for other lawmakers?
Yeah, well, I can tell you what you can't do, and that sends me 1,000 form emails because that doesn't seem to work. But absolutely, I try to be thoughtful and intentional and listening to folks' concern, especially if they're from my district, to see what I can do to be better. So I always say reach out. Email's great. Or if you see that I have a radio show every Friday, you can call in. So you can always call in and ask me a random question at any time. But also make sure just to reach out through me email or through the phone, and I will try to respond and to help work through your advocacy issue with you.
Yeah, authenticity helps. Form emails usually don't. Well,
Yes, yes.
well, Senator, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment to transportation safety and in keeping with NCAS missions. I will wish you safe travels out there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.